Carolina Panthers are up. Dwayne, they were the worst team in the National Football League a year ago. And a big part of that was the fact that Bryce Young did not look anywhere near the part. I'm being nice. Right. I understand that. Right. He, of course, it made it look worse of how poorly he performed because C.J. Stroud, the pick after him, was the offensive rookie of the year. And now some people consider C.J. Stroud already in year number 2 as a top 5 quarterback in this league. To Carolina's credit, look, with ownership and David Tepper being a little bit temperamental, as we know, they fire Frank Reich midstream. Not a good thing to do with a rookie quarterback. No. They bring in Dave Canales, who, look, to his credit last year in Tampa, Baker Mayfield's always been, other than maybe about a year and a half in Cleveland, has been always about a league average quarterback.
Right.
And Baker Mayfield was a legitimate top 12 quarterback in the NFL a year ago.
Played great.
And I think a lot of that is to do with how Canales called the offense. He had past stops in Seattle as well. He was there when Russell Wilson was up there before everything got a little messy up there in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. By the way, Carolina's 10-1 to win the NFC South. The long shot, no shock there. But they had a very, very active offseason. Now, they trade their best defensive player in Brian Burns to the Giants. They get back a lot less in return in that deal than they would have if they dealt them last year to the Rams, where the Rams were willing to offer 2 number one picks for Brian Burns. Hayden Hurst, not a big one. Yetur Gross-Matos, we talked about him last week with San Francisco.
Right.
Really a depth piece. I was not able to fit a lot of players that I would have put in the additions normally here, Dwayne.
Johnson and Clowney.
Because Deontay Johnson comes in right away, even though he's an infuriating player for my book.
Right.
He comes in as clearly the most talented receiver this team has now. Jadeveon Clowney, maybe in the twilight of his career, still can be an impact pass rusher if used at times. Really, the offensive line was what they changed, and those are the 2 bottom names there. Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt, given a lot of money. Robert Hunt given $100 million for a guard, which you just don't see that type of money thrown around. They and Yash Nijman from Green Bay. He comes over. He's going to start at tackle. They signed guys I couldn't even mention. Josie Jewell over from Denver, who was a high-impact guy at the linebacker position. Dane Jackson as well. Jordan Fuller in that secondary. So this is a very different-looking team, Dwayne. But they still have the lowest win total on the board.
Of course.
In the NFC at 5.5. And until we see from Bryce Young, I don't think you can justify seeing a total higher than that on this team.
Yeah, definitely. And how many coaching changes, the Bryce Young decision, the draft, you had the last pick, I think, in the first round. We actually seen them come down a tick. We opened them, I think, at, 200-1, and now they're 150-1 at the Rampart.
Got to grab that value, Dwayne.
Yeah, I think that's just a donation, I'll be honest with you. I mean, look at the divisional odds. They're in a tough division, and what I will say is the measuring stick is going to be opening week, because you have 2 suspect teams, Carolina and New Orleans. So let's see how this plays out. A somewhat older team with New Orleans. Mm-hmm. You're counting on Carr still. I don't know why. Carolina, they're definitely going to be finding their way. They have to improve. Last year was so bad. I don't know, though, if Young is the real deal. And like you said, they made the mistake as Stroud came into prominence immediately. I mean, by midseason, you knew this kid was a phenomenal talent. And, you have Bryce Young, 150-1 to win the MVP. He isn't going to win that. I would shop around if you're looking for that. Definitely, I don't think the offseason moves were that significant, as well as the draft, to move the measuring stick. This team is going to be at the bottom of the NFL, basically.
I had them power rated 32. Now, and that's even with all the improvements.
Right.
Where they're way better at offensive line. They were bad on the offensive line.
Terrible. Now they're way better.
Now they're, you know what? Interior-wise, they're quite good now.
Right.
Now, again, Robert Hunt, I don't think any guard is worth a $100 million contract. But Robert Hunt,
the receiving core, like you said.
So
Thielen is
number 2. Thielen is old at this point.
Right.
Deontay Johnson, I always an infuriating player to deal with in Pittsburgh. Xavier Legette, who they traded back into the first round,
Right.
took him at
34.
at 32.
32.
They took him.
Somewhere.
40-1 to win offensive rookie. Now, look, I'm not saying he's going to win it. Again, I've made it pretty clear when going through the divisions that I think Caleb Williams is going to be a star right away, and those short numbers on offensive rookie of the year aren't going to be there by week 4.
I hear you.
So I'm in that camp. But the path for Carolina being better is Bryce Young just had a horrible rookie year,
right?
Has a new coaching staff that is more competent than the previous one, and he naturally progresses.
Canales is the key.
Yeah, and that's the key.
Right.
Can this coaching staff help Bryce Young get his confidence back? Help him play?
Help him matriculate the ball down the field.
Play him at his own strengths
Exactly.
too. They didn't do that at all last year. Get him outside the pocket. Let him go. But I can't bet over 5.5 on this team until I see something like that.
But the division is suspect.
You made a good point.
You can get wins, at home if you're efficient.
100%.
And I believe Canales is good enough to improve him when you're talking win total, but still, that is still at the bottom of the NFL.
You made a very good point mixed in a little bit earlier. New Orleans, who some in the market are high on New Orleans. There are some people
made the playoffs
who I respect who are high on New Orleans. I thought the only reason they even had an over 500 or around a 500 record last year was because they had the easiest schedule of all time, basically.
Correct.
And if they were any good at all, they would have won 11, 12 games last year. I think they're also poorly coached. I don't like Dennis Allen.
Yeah, I don't either.
And Carr is Carr at this point. He's a league average to slightly below average starter.
Correct.
If you're Carolina and you're serious about being better, you go to New Orleans and win that game as a 3.5, 4-point underdog week 1.
Right.
You go win that game. And then Chargers week 2, cross-country trip. I don't think it's the same old Chargers because I trust Harbaugh a lot more than anyone who's coached them in the last 2 decades, basically. But look, the schedule early on, there are 3 winnable games. Because even here in Vegas, I don't think is an unwinnable game for them.
Vegas, you could beat Vegas. Vegas is not good.
You get out 2-1, all right, maybe things are a little bit different. I still had them at 5 wins. Right. I had them at 5. I thought that 5.5 was right, Dwayne.
You have to split those first 4 games, like you said.
Well, if they don't,
you're not going to beat Cincinnati and you're not going to beat the Chargers. I'll be honest with you.
You probably
Herbert is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, and now you have a new coach. Harbaugh is definitely going to righten that ship right out. Cincinnati, as long as they're healthy, you're not going to beat Joe Burrow. I'm sorry. So we're going to see
as long as he's there. Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
exactly. If he's playing and he's healthy with that offense and that defense, they should be solid. Then you go to the Bears. Bears are definitely going to be a totally different team. You could see that. After that, Falcons, winnable game. Commanders, possibly a winnable game. You don't know. Everybody thinks the Commanders, here we go. They're going to be such a turnaround. They're in a poor division as well. Dallas definitely took a step back. Giants took a step back tremendously without Saquon, and the Eagles are the Eagles. So, those games, those first 6, 7 games will tell the tale if you're going to get that 5.5.
Yeah, and also Denver to me. I have Denver. I know the market doesn't agree with me on this. We'll get to the AFC West maybe even next week.
Right.
I have the Broncos power rated as the worst team in the AFC.
And I had one of my sharpest bettors come in and pound the under the win total on that team.
Yeah.
I think it was like 6.5.
Yeah, so it's a lower win total. New England has a lower win total in the AFC. I don't think the Patriots as bad as Denver. I think Denver's quarterback situation, even with a potential Hall of Fame coach in Peyton, is an abomination this year. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff Parles.
And I'm Alex White. Thank you for watching this clip of Sports by the Book. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe.
We live stream the show right here every day on this channel. Also, you can catch the podcast version on your favorite podcast platform.
All the links are in the description below. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.